Maya was a woman who always appeared ordinary to everyone around her. She lived a simple life in a quiet neighborhood, going about her daily routine with a calm and gentle demeanor. At first glance, anyone would think of her as delicate, soft-spoken, and perhaps even a little shy. Her neighbors greeted her with friendly smiles, her co-workers liked her for her politeness, and her friends knew her as someone who preferred listening rather than speaking loudly. Nothing about her suggested she had any hidden strength or extraordinary skill. Yet, Maya carried a quiet determination inside her, one that very few could see or understand. For a long time, she had wanted to do something different, something that would help her feel confident and strong, not just in body but also in mind. She wanted to be prepared for life's challenges in a way she had never been before. After careful thought, she decided to join a local karate class. It was not something her friends expected her to do. They often joked that she would probably just stand there quietly, too shy to make a move. But Maya didn't mind what others thought. She had made up her mind, and she was ready to step into a world she had only admired from a distance. The dojo was small but lively. It had polished wooden floors, walls lined with mirrors, and shelves stacked with neatly folded uniforms and belts of all colors. The smell of polish and the faint scent of sweat from hard training filled the air. Maya felt a mix of nervousness and excitement as she walked inside for her first class. She noticed the other students warming up, their movements precise and confident. Among them were several black belts, older and more experienced, who moved with a quiet authority. They spoke to each other with familiarity, their eyes occasionally glancing at newcomers with curiosity or mild amusement. Maya felt a flutter of anxiety. She was entering a world that seemed intimidating, full of people who were more skilled and more confident than she was. But she reminded herself why she had come. She wanted to learn, to grow, and to discover what she was truly capable of. Taking a deep breath, she approached the instructor and introduced herself. The instructor, a kind middle-aged man named Mr. Tanaka, welcomed her warmly. He explained the basic rules of the dojo and reminded all the students to treat each other with respect and discipline. Maya nodded, listening carefully. Every word he said seemed important, a piece of a puzzle she was eager to understand. The class began with stretching exercises, and Maya moved carefully, paying attention to every instruction. Her muscles ached slightly from movements she was not used to, but she persevered. She noticed the black belts watching, some with curious expressions, others with mild amusement. One of them, a tall man named Kenji, whispered to his friend, "She looks so quiet. I doubt she can keep up with us." Maya did not hear this, but she sensed the undercurrent of challenge in the room. She decided to focus on herself, not on their words or thoughts. As the class progressed, students practiced basic punches, kicks, and stances. Maya tried her best to follow along, her movements careful and deliberate. She had always been attentive to detail, and now her patience and focus began to pay off. Though her movements were not yet perfect, they were controlled and precise. She felt a small thrill each time she executed a move correctly. The black belts continued to watch, sometimes exchanging skeptical glances. To them, Maya seemed like any other quiet newcomer, someone who might struggle and eventually fade into the background. They had no idea what she truly carried within herself. After the warm-up, the instructor asked students to pair up for partner practice. Maya's partner was a young man named Riku, who had been training for several years. He assumed she would be inexperienced and possibly clumsy. At first, he tried to guide her with easy maneuvers, but he quickly noticed that she had a natural sense of balance and timing. Her reactions were subtle but effective, her stance steady, and her movements measured. Riku was surprised, but he kept his thoughts to himself, not wanting to draw attention. Maya, on the other hand, remained humble and focused. She was learning, observing, and absorbing every detail of the practice. During a break, the black belts gathered together, their conversation low but full of judgment. "She's too quiet," said one of them, a woman named Ayumi. "She looks like she wouldn't fight back at all." Kenji laughed softly. "Maybe she's afraid," he said. "Or maybe she's just weak. Either way, she's going to struggle when we test her." The group snickered, clearly underestimating Maya. But Maya, sitting quietly on a bench and sipping water, had already noticed the whispers and the glances. She said nothing, only watched, and allowed herself a small, knowing smile. She remembered the years she had spent learning self-discipline and control. Although she had never shared it with anyone, she had trained in martial arts techniques, self-defense, and careful observation for many years. Her training had been private, secret, and deliberate, building her strength without attracting attention. Maya knew how to read people, to anticipate movements, and to act with precision. She had always believed in preparing quietly and letting her actions speak louder than words. The next exercise involved demonstrating a series of moves in front of the class. Maya's heart beat faster as the black belts positioned themselves around the practice area. She could feel their eyes on her, their skepticism clear. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her movements were smooth, measured, and controlled. She executed each punch, kick, and stance with care, focusing on precision rather than speed. Some of the students murmured in surprise. Even the black belts paused, noticing that she had balance, coordination, and a calm focus that was unusual for someone so quiet and unassuming. After the demonstration, Mr. Tanaka nodded appreciatively. "Good control, Maya," he said. "You are learning well. Keep practicing, and you will continue to improve." Maya bowed respectfully, thanking him, while keeping her composure. She felt a quiet satisfaction. She had not only completed the exercise but had also revealed a hint of her hidden abilities, without needing to boast or provoke anyone. The class ended with a cool-down period, during which students stretched and discussed the lesson. Maya walked slowly, stretching her muscles, and noticed that some of the black belts were now watching her with a mix of curiosity and respect. The subtle change in their attitude did not go unnoticed by her. While they had assumed she was weak, they had begun to see that she was not as ordinary as she appeared. Yet, Maya did not let this shift affect her humility. She had no desire for confrontation or to prove herself unnecessarily. She simply wanted to learn, grow, and understand the depth of her own abilities. As she left the dojo that day, the sunlight falling gently on her face, Maya felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. She had taken the first step on a path that would challenge her, test her, and eventually reveal the strength she had kept hidden for so long. The black belts, meanwhile, whispered among themselves, unsure of how to interpret what they had seen. They did not know that Maya was capable of far more than anyone could imagine. Back at home, Maya reflected on the day's events. She wrote down notes in her journal, detailing what she had learned, what she needed to improve, and the subtle dynamics she had observed among the students. She knew that the challenges ahead would test her patience, skill, and composure, but she also felt a quiet excitement. Life had given her an opportunity to grow stronger, not only physically but also mentally and emotionally. In the days that followed, Maya continued to attend the karate class, always observing, practicing, and quietly preparing. She never sought attention, never boasted about her abilities, and never engaged in unnecessary conflict. Yet, her presence began to leave an impression on the dojo. Fellow students noticed her focus, discipline, and calm demeanor. Even the black belts, who initially dismissed her, began to watch her more closely, their assumptions slowly being challenged by the quiet strength that Maya carried within herself. Maya's journey had just begun. She was entering a world that valued skill, discipline, and respect, and she was determined to navigate it with patience, intelligence, and quiet confidence. She knew that challenges lay ahead, moments of confrontation, tests of her abilities, and situations that would push her beyond her limits. But she also knew that she was ready. The simple woman that everyone underestimated was prepared to reveal her strength, not through words, but through actions when the right moment came. As night fell and Maya closed her eyes, she felt a sense of peace. She had taken the first step into a new chapter of her life, one that promised growth, discovery, and transformation. She knew that her journey would not be easy, but she was ready to face it with courage, intelligence, and an unwavering sense of self. And somewhere in the dojo, the black belts would soon learn that appearances could be deceiving, and that the quietest person in the room could hold a power they could never have imagined. The following week, Maya returned to the dojo with a quiet determination that seemed almost invisible but radiated from within. She walked past the polished wooden floors, the mirrors that reflected the movements of others, and the rows of neatly stacked uniforms. Her eyes were calm, yet observant, scanning the room and taking in every detail. She had learned from her first class that appearances could be deceiving, and that she needed to pay attention not just to the instructor but also to the students around her. As she entered, she noticed the black belts standing together near the center of the dojo, whispering and casting glances in her direction. Their expressions had changed slightly from the previous week, curiosity now mixed with a hint of uncertainty. They remembered the precision in her movements, the quiet focus, and the subtle control she had displayed. None of them could quite place why they felt slightly uneasy when they looked at her, but they brushed it off as curiosity. Maya, however, noticed everything. She noticed the way Kenji crossed his arms and the way Ayumi tilted her head, studying her movements with a barely disguised interest. The warm-up started with stretching exercises and basic cardio movements. Maya followed along, moving her body with grace and precision. She felt a rhythm in her movements, a harmony between body and mind that she had always cultivated in her secret training sessions at home. Her muscles stretched and flexed with ease, and she began to feel a growing confidence. While the other students sometimes struggled to keep up, Maya moved smoothly, adjusting her pace to her body's natural flow. She understood that strength was not just in speed or power, but in control and awareness. After the warm-up, Mr. Tanaka gathered the students for a new exercise. This time, they would practice defensive maneuvers, focusing on blocking and countering attacks. Maya's heart beat a little faster, knowing that this was a step closer to the real test of skill. She paired up with Riku again, who had noticed her remarkable control in the last class. Riku assumed she would remain cautious, perhaps even timid, but he quickly realized she approached the exercise with calculated precision. Every block was perfectly timed, every step balanced, and every movement deliberate. Riku found himself having to think twice before attempting even a simple maneuver against her. The black belts watched closely as the students paired off for practice. They were used to being the top fighters in the class, accustomed to observing and assessing skill levels. Yet something about Maya puzzled them. Her movements were not flashy or fast, but they were effective, fluid, and precise. Kenji whispered to Ayumi, "She's holding back, but she knows what she's doing." "Did you see how she anticipated Riku's move?" Ayumi nodded slowly, her expression thoughtful. "Yes, but she's so quiet. It's hard to read her. I wonder how far she can really go." The others nodded in agreement, still uncertain but intrigued. Maya remained completely focused, not noticing the whispers around her. She observed every motion of her partner, every shift in balance, and every subtle change in posture. She had learned that the key to mastering combat was not just strength, but observation and anticipation. By watching carefully, she could predict moves before they happened, and that knowledge allowed her to react calmly and efficiently. As Riku attempted a series of attacks, Maya countered each one seamlessly, surprising him with her awareness. He had been training for years, yet she moved with an ease that seemed almost natural. After the practice, the instructor called everyone together for a demonstration. This was a common ritual in the dojo, where students showed their skills in front of the class. Maya stepped forward, her heart steady. She did not feel fear, only focus. She executed a sequence of defensive and offensive movements with smooth precision, her body moving in harmony with her mind. The black belts watched, now fully attentive. Their previous assumptions of weakness began to crumble with each fluid motion she performed. Mr. Tanaka nodded in approval after her demonstration. Very good, Maya. Your timing and control are excellent. Keep practicing, and you will continue to improve. Maya bowed respectfully, acknowledging the compliment without arrogance. She knew that true strength was not about showing off but about learning and improving silently, day by day. During the break, the black belts gathered near the side of the room. She's different, Kenji admitted quietly. Not just skilled, but disciplined. And she doesn't make a sound, doesn't react emotionally, it's like she's calculating everything. Ayumi added, it's unnerving. I didn't expect someone like her to appear in our class. We've underestimated her. The others nodded in agreement. Maya, sitting quietly on a bench nearby, heard none of this but felt their attention. She smiled faintly to herself, not out of pride but with the knowledge that she had already begun to shift their perception. The next exercise was more challenging. Students were asked to spar lightly with one another, testing their reactions and adaptability. Maya paired with a younger student named Taro, who was energetic and enthusiastic but not very experienced. He approached the sparring with a lot of energy, trying quick punches and fast kicks. Maya responded with calm precision, blocking his movements effortlessly and redirecting his energy with careful timing. Taro quickly realized that his attacks had little effect. He began to tire, while Maya remained steady and composed. The black belts observed this closely. Kenji whispered, "See? She's not just good with practice moves. She adapts instantly. That's a rare skill." Ayumi nodded, her eyes narrowing in thought. And she does it without anger or aggression. That kind of control is dangerous in a real fight. We should be careful. Their respect for her abilities was growing, but it was still mixed with the uncertainty of not fully understanding her potential. As the sparring ended, Mr. Tanaka called everyone together again. He praised their efforts and reminded them that discipline, respect, and observation were just as important as physical skill. Maya listened carefully, her mind absorbing every word. She knew that karate was not only about strength and technique but also about character and patience. She had always believed in these principles, and now she was seeing them practiced and reinforced in the dojo. After class, Maya stayed behind to practice alone. The black belts had finished their discussion and were watching her from a distance. She performed a series of kicks, blocks, and stances, each one executed with careful attention to detail. Her movements were deliberate and precise, her body moving in perfect balance with her mind. She felt a sense of calm and satisfaction as she practiced, knowing that each repetition was building her strength, skill, and confidence. Suddenly, a soft voice called from behind. "Maya," Kenji said cautiously, stepping forward. "Can I ask you something?" Maya turned and smiled politely. "Of course," she replied. Kenji hesitated for a moment before speaking. I didn't expect you to be this skilled. Most people who start here struggle for months before they can move like that. How did you learn so quickly?" Maya shrugged lightly, her expression calm. "I have always trained quietly on my own," she said simply. "I like to observe, practice, and improve without drawing attention. That's how I learn best." Kenji blinked, surprised by her honesty and simplicity. He glanced at the other black belts, who had begun to approach as well. Ayumi spoke next, her voice careful. "You are very skilled, Maya. We underestimated you before. I apologize if we made assumptions about your abilities." Maya smiled politely again. "Thank you," she said. "I am here to learn, not to prove myself." but I hope I can contribute to the class and help others improve as well. The black belts were quiet for a moment, processing her words. They had expected someone timid, perhaps inexperienced, but Maya had revealed a depth of skill, discipline, and humility that they had not anticipated. They realized that she was not only a talented fighter but also someone with a strong character, capable of inspiring and challenging others without arrogance or hostility. From that day on, Maya's presence in the dojo changed subtly but noticeably. Other students began to watch her movements more closely, seeking to learn from her calm precision. Even the black belts, who had once been skeptical, now approached her with respect and curiosity. Maya continued her quiet practice, never boasting, never seeking attention, but always improving and observing. She had begun to reveal her hidden abilities not through confrontation, but through the simple power of dedication, focus, and discipline. Maya's journey was far from over. Challenges would come, tests of skill, moments of confrontation, and situations that would push her to the limits of her abilities. But she felt ready. She had discovered that true strength was not only physical but mental and emotional. And though the black belts had begun to see her in a new light, they still had no idea how far she could go when she needed to defend herself or others. That evening, as Maya walked home through the quiet streets of her neighborhood, she felt a quiet sense of anticipation. The dojo had become a place of growth, learning, and subtle transformation. She knew that her path was just beginning, and that the challenges ahead would require her to combine skill, observation, and courage. She also knew that the quietest person in the room could hold the most surprising power, a truth that would soon become evident to everyone around her. The next week, Maya arrived at the dojo earlier than usual. The sun had not fully risen, and the streets were quiet, except for the occasional sound of birds chirping and a distant vehicle. She preferred this early time, when the world was still calm, because it allowed her to focus without distraction. As she entered the dojo, the familiar smell of polished wood and clean mats greeted her. She took a deep breath, feeling calm and centered. Today, she decided, she would practice some advanced techniques she had been studying in secret at home. The dojo was empty except for Mr. Tanaka, who had arrived a few minutes earlier. He was stretching quietly, and his presence brought a sense of authority and experience to the room. Maya bowed respectfully before beginning her exercises. She moved gracefully, performing a series of kicks, punches, and defensive stances with precise control. Each movement was deliberate, as though she were painting a picture with her body. She could feel her muscles stretching, her balance improving, and her mind sharpening with every repetition. After some time, the other students began to arrive. At first, they were surprised to see Maya already practicing. Whispers circulated among them. "She's always here early," one student said. "And she practices alone," another added. They watched her quietly from the corner, curious but hesitant to interrupt. Maya did not notice them, her focus entirely on the rhythm of her training. She had learned that the best way to improve was through discipline and patience, and she was willing to put in the time, regardless of who was watching. Soon, Mr. Tanaka joined her in a practice routine. He had noticed her dedication and wanted to challenge her further. "Maya," he said, his voice calm but commanding, "today we will practice paired movements. You will respond to my attacks while maintaining perfect form and balance. This will test both your skill and your ability to anticipate an opponent's moves." Maya nodded, understanding the importance of the exercise. She had trained in solitude for years, but now she had the opportunity to apply her knowledge against someone experienced and observant. The exercise began. Mr. Tanaka moved with speed and precision, testing Maya with a series of complex attacks. She blocked, countered, and shifted her weight with flawless timing. Each movement required focus, control, and awareness. The sweat on her brow was evidence of her effort, but she did not waver. She could feel the energy between her and Mr. Tanaka, a silent communication that allowed her to anticipate his next move. It was a dance of skill and instinct, a test of both body and mind. The other students watched in awe. They had never seen anyone respond to Mr. Tanaka's movements with such fluidity. Even the black belts, who had previously been skeptical, were impressed. Kenji whispered to Ayumi, "She's incredible. I don't think I've ever seen anyone move like that against him." Ayumi nodded, her expression thoughtful. "It's not just skill, it's her understanding of timing and balance. She's learning faster than anyone I've known." As the practice continued, Mr. Tanaka increased the intensity. He shifted from slow, controlled movements to faster, unpredictable attacks. Maya adapted seamlessly, her body moving with natural rhythm, her mind calculating each response in real time. She felt a surge of confidence. She had trained for this moment, and she could see the results of her hard work. Every move was precise, every block effective, and every counter smooth. The room was filled with the sound of controlled breathing and the impact of carefully executed techniques. After several minutes, Mr. Tanaka finally stopped. He bowed to Maya, a sign of respect and acknowledgement. "Well done," he said, his voice calm but filled with approval. "You have shown great skill and control today. Your dedication is evident, and your progress is remarkable." Maya smiled politely, bowing in return. She felt a sense of accomplishment but remained humble. She knew that true mastery was a lifelong journey, and today was just one step along that path. During the break, the black belts approached Maya. They had been watching her with growing respect, but now they wanted to speak directly. Kenji spoke first, his tone cautious. "Maya, we've been watching you closely. Your skill is unusual. We want to understand how you've improved so quickly." Maya listened quietly, her expression calm. She did not feel the need to boast or explain too much. Instead, she replied simply, "I practice consistently, and I focus on observing and learning. That is how I improve. Anyone can do the same if they dedicate themselves to it." Ayumi added, her curiosity clear, "But you are not just skilled, you anticipate moves before they happen. How do you do that?" Maya thought for a moment, choosing her words carefully. "I watch carefully, and I try to understand the patterns in movement. I focus on balance and timing. When you notice small changes in posture or expression, you can predict the next action. It's not magic, it's observation and patience." Their respect for her grew. They realized that her talent was not just natural ability but a combination of discipline, intelligence, and careful study. Maya had shown them that strength could come quietly, without noise or arrogance, and that observation was as powerful as raw power. The next exercise was more challenging. Mr. Tanaka asked the students to spar in pairs, incorporating both offensive and defensive techniques. Maya paired with Riku again. This time, the exercise was not just about blocking attacks but about creating opportunities and responding to complex situations. Riku tried a series of rapid attacks, attempting to push Maya off balance. Maya responded with precision, redirecting his energy and using his momentum against him. Each move was calculated, each counter seamless. As the sparring continued, the other students began to notice patterns in Maya's movements. She was always aware of her surroundings, never overextending, and always maintaining control. Even when she faced stronger or faster opponents, she adapted without panic. Her calm and calculated approach made her appear almost untouchable, and the students found themselves learning from her without even realizing it. Kenji whispered to Ayumi again, "I think she's more than just skilled. She has a deep understanding of movement and strategy. She's teaching us without saying a word." Ayumi nodded, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Yes, and she doesn't need recognition. That makes her even more dangerous. Her confidence is quiet but absolute." After sparring, Mr. Tanaka gathered everyone together for reflection. Today you have all made progress, he said. But remember, martial arts is not only about physical skill. It is about observation, patience, and understanding. Maya has demonstrated these qualities exceptionally. Let her example inspire you to develop not just strength, but also awareness and discipline. The class ended, but Maya stayed behind once again. She wanted to practice advanced techniques she had studied at home, combining what she had learned with the guidance of the dojo. Her movements were precise, her focus intense, and her understanding of balance and timing continued to grow. The black belts, who had initially been skeptical, watched silently, increasingly aware that Maya was exceptional. They realized that she was not only improving herself but also subtly raising the level of everyone around her. As evening approached, Maya left the dojo and walked home through the quiet streets. She reflected on the day, feeling a sense of quiet satisfaction. She had faced new challenges, tested her skills against experienced opponents, and proven to herself that her dedication was paying off. At the same time, she remained humble, knowing that mastery was a journey, not a destination. When she returned home, she sat by the window, looking at the city lights flickering in the distance. She thought about the students she had inspired, the lessons she had learned, and the challenges that lay ahead. Maya knew that the journey was far from over. There would be tests of skill, moments of uncertainty, and situations that would push her beyond her limits. But she felt ready, confident in her abilities and in the strength she had cultivated within herself. That night, as she prepared for bed, Maya reviewed her goals and training plans. She reflected on each movement, each lesson, and each observation from the dojo. Her mind was sharp, her resolve strong, and her determination unwavering. She understood that the quietest person in the room could hold the greatest power, not through aggression or boastfulness, but through focus, discipline, and intelligence. Maya drifted to sleep with a sense of calm anticipation. The next day would bring new challenges, new lessons, and opportunities to grow. She felt ready to face whatever came her way, knowing that true strength was built not in moments of showmanship, but in the quiet, consistent dedication to improvement. And so, Maya's journey continued, each day adding another layer to her skills, her understanding, and her character. She had begun to transform the dojo, not through loud demonstrations, but through the silent power of her presence, her discipline, and her unwavering focus. The black belts, the other students, and even Mr. Tanaka had begun to see that Maya was more than just another student. She was a force of quiet determination, ready to rise to any challenge, and her story was only beginning. The following week, the dojo buzzed with an unusual energy. Students were practicing with more focus than usual, and whispers about Maya's skill floated quietly through the room. She arrived early once again, as she always did, her footsteps soft on the polished wooden floor. The early morning light streamed through the windows, casting long shadows that danced across the mats. Maya could feel the quiet power of the day settling around her, giving her a sense of calm anticipation. As she began her warm-up exercises, stretching slowly and methodically, she noticed several black belts watching her from the edge of the room. They were silent, their arms crossed, eyes focused, yet there was a hint of uncertainty in their expressions. She had grown used to their presence, their skepticism, and now, perhaps, their respect. Maya did not let their attention distract her. She moved through her routines with precision, her body flowing smoothly from one stance to another. Each motion was deliberate, practiced, and full of intention. The door opened, and a few more students trickled in. One of them, a young man named Hiro, approached nervously. "Maya," he said quietly, can you show me how you do that step you did yesterday? The one where you, redirected Riku's momentum." Maya paused, considering the request. She looked at Hiro's eager eyes and nodded. "Of course," she said softly. "But you must understand, it's not just the movement. It's about understanding the flow, watching carefully, and staying calm. If you rush, it will not work. Hiro nodded, determined to learn. Maya led him to the center of the mat and demonstrated slowly, repeating the movement several times. She emphasized balance, timing, and observation, breaking down each part of the motion. Hiro tried to imitate her, but he struggled to keep the fluidity and control. Maya watched patiently, adjusting his posture slightly, giving him gentle advice, and correcting small mistakes. Within minutes, Hiro began to move more smoothly, though still far from perfect. Maya smiled, pleased that her guidance was making a difference. Meanwhile, the black belts had gathered closer, intrigued by the quiet way Maya taught and demonstrated. They had begun to realize that her strength was not just in her physical skill but also in her ability to inspire and guide others without arrogance. One of them, Satoshi, whispered to Kenji, "She's teaching him without saying much, but it's clear he's learning more in these few minutes than in a week of normal class." Kenji nodded thoughtfully. "Yes, she has a way of showing without boasting. That's dangerous, and impressive." Just then, Mr. Tanaka called the class together. "Today," he announced, "we will have a special exercise. You will pair up and spar, but with a twist. Each pair will face an unexpected challenge from another student. Your goal is not only to defend and attack but to adapt quickly to surprise situations. This will test your skill, focus, and creativity." Maya paired with Riku again. As the exercise began, another black belt, Takeshi, was assigned to observe and introduce small challenges. He moved unpredictably, sometimes attacking suddenly, sometimes pretending to leave openings that were actually traps. Maya's focus sharpened instantly. Her eyes scanned the room, her body relaxed but ready, and her mind calculated possibilities. Every movement she made was controlled, precise, and responsive. The other students watched in amazement. They had never seen someone react so naturally under pressure. Maya anticipated attacks before they fully formed, redirected energy seamlessly, and countered with calm efficiency. Each time Takeshi tried to catch her off guard, she adapted without hesitation. It was as though she could see patterns where others saw chaos. During one intense moment, Takeshi feinted a high kick while attempting to grab her balance. Maya shifted her weight perfectly, letting his energy move past her, and responded with a subtle but effective counter, pushing him gently but decisively off balance. The sound of controlled impact echoed across the room, and Takeshi landed safely but with a surprised look on his face. Even the black belts were taken aback. Mr. Tanaka observed silently, a small smile on his face. He recognized in Maya the combination of instinct, skill, and intelligence that only a few martial artists ever achieved. Her movements were not just reactions, they were preemptive, controlled, and strategic. He had seen many students come and go, but Maya's presence was unique, and her potential limitless. As the sparring continued, Maya noticed something that the others didn't. She observed the subtle tendencies of each student, how they shifted their weight, where their focus wavered, and how they responded under stress. Using this information, she adjusted her own approach, not only improving her performance but also helping her partner navigate the challenge. Hiro, who was paired with another student, followed her guidance silently, adapting more quickly than anyone expected. The exercise ended, and the class gathered around Mr. Tanaka for discussion. "Today was a remarkable display of awareness and adaptability," he said. "Maya, your performance was exceptional. You have shown skill, patience, and intelligence that inspire others. Remember, martial arts is not only about strength but also about understanding, anticipation, and respect for others. Let her example guide you in your practice." Maya bowed respectfully, acknowledging Mr. Tanaka's words. She felt a quiet sense of pride but did not let it inflate her ego. She understood that mastery was a journey, and today was only a single step forward. Her goal was not to be admired but to continue growing, learning, and helping others improve along the way. After class, as students were packing up, a group of black belts approached Maya. Kenji spoke first, his tone serious but respectful. "Maya, we underestimated you. Your skill, it's beyond what we imagined. You move with precision, control, and strategy that we rarely see. You are different from the rest of us." Maya listened quietly, nodding in acknowledgement. She did not feel the need to boast or explain herself. Ayumi added, curiosity and admiration mixing in her voice, "We've been training for years, and we've never seen someone respond like you. You anticipate, adapt, and control situations as if you can see what will happen next. How do you do it?" Maya smiled gently. "I practice consistently, watch carefully, and stay calm. I don't rush, and I pay attention to details. You can achieve the same if you focus on learning, not just showing strength." The black belts exchanged glances, impressed not only by her skill but by her humility. They realized that Maya's true power was not just physical but mental, emotional, and strategic. Her ability to remain calm, focused, and observant gave her an edge that raw strength alone could never achieve. Later that evening, Maya returned home, her body tired but her mind active. She reflected on the day, reviewing each movement, each lesson, and each interaction. She thought about the students she had inspired, the challenges she had faced, and the lessons she had learned from Mr. Tanaka and from sparring. Her thoughts flowed like a calm river, steady and deep. Maya decided to practice at home, refining movements and experimenting with new techniques. She had a small space in her living room, enough to move freely and practice with precision. As she executed kicks, punches, and defensive maneuvers, she imagined scenarios and opponents, visualizing every detail and anticipating every possible action. Her mind was as active as her body, analyzing, learning, and improving. That night, as she prepared for bed, she considered the journey ahead. There would be new challenges, tougher opponents, and moments of doubt. But Maya felt ready. She had proven to herself and to others that true strength came from preparation, observation, and calm determination. She had faced challenges and adapted, and she knew that no matter what came next, she would continue to grow stronger, wiser, and more confident. Before falling asleep, Maya made a promise to herself. She would continue training, not for recognition or praise, but for the joy of improvement and the satisfaction of mastering her craft. She would face every challenge with courage, remain humble in victory, and learn from every defeat. And most importantly, she would never underestimate herself, because she knew that quiet strength often held the greatest power. In the days that followed, Maya's reputation quietly grew. Students who had once doubted her began to watch her more closely, eager to learn from her example. The black belts, who had once questioned her abilities, now approached her with curiosity and respect. And Mr. Tanaka, who had always valued dedication and skill, knew that Maya was destined for greatness not through loud displays or aggression, but through quiet, consistent mastery. Maya's journey continued, each day adding new layers to her skill, understanding, and character. The dojo itself seemed to transform, not through noise or confrontation, but through the calm influence of her presence. Students learned from her example, inspired by her focus, patience, and discipline. And as Maya continued to grow, she realized that her true strength was not in defeating others but in mastering herself. The quiet power she cultivated, the patience she maintained, and the intelligence she applied would guide her through challenges far greater than any sparring exercise. And though the dojo was a place of learning and discipline, it was also a stage where Maya's journey unfolded, day by day, step by step, in ways that would surprise and inspire everyone around her. The following week brought a new energy to the dojo. Maya walked in with the same quiet confidence she always carried. Her eyes scanned the room, noticing familiar faces and new students who had joined after hearing rumors about her skill. Some of them watched with curiosity, while others carried a hint of skepticism. Maya did not pay them much attention. Her focus was on herself, her practice, and the lessons she could share. Mr. Tanaka called the students together. "Today," he said, "we will have a special test. This is not just about technique, speed, or strength. It is about awareness, strategy, and courage. Each student will face challenges that require thinking, adaptation, and calm decision-making. Remember, martial arts is as much about the mind as it is about the body." As the students paired off, whispers spread. Many were curious and a little nervous about what the special test would involve. Maya paired with Hiro again. She smiled faintly, sensing his slight nervousness. "Don't worry," she whispered. "Focus on what you've learned, stay calm, and pay attention. Everything else will follow." Hiro nodded, grateful for her guidance. The first round began with simple sparring exercises. Students were asked to react to sudden attacks from unpredictable opponents. Maya moved with effortless grace, redirecting energy, anticipating movements, and keeping her balance perfect. Hiro tried his best to follow her guidance, managing to respond to attacks more effectively than he had before. Then Mr. Tanaka increased the challenge. He introduced an obstacle course that required students to navigate around mats, dodge moving objects, and respond to surprise attacks from multiple directions. The students' eyes widened. This was unlike anything they had practiced before. Maya, however, took a deep breath, letting calm fill her mind. She analyzed the course quickly, planning her movements carefully. As the exercise began, Maya's instincts guided her. She moved efficiently, avoiding obstacles, reading her opponent's intentions, and adapting to sudden changes. Hiro followed her lead, sometimes stumbling but learning quickly. Maya offered quiet guidance, sometimes through words, often just through example. Students and instructors alike watched in amazement at her ability to remain composed while facing so many variables at once. At one point, two advanced black belts approached simultaneously from different directions, attempting to corner her. Maya's eyes flicked between them. She did not panic. Instead, she shifted her weight slightly, redirecting their energy with subtle movements. One black belt stumbled forward, off balance, while the other was gently guided aside. The room fell silent for a moment, everyone processing the precision and skill they had just witnessed. After completing the obstacle course, Mr. Tanaka gathered the students again. "Maya," he said, "you have demonstrated not only skill but awareness, strategy, and courage. You have shown others what true mastery can look like when combined with calm, careful observation. Your performance today will serve as an example for all students." Maya bowed respectfully. She felt a sense of accomplishment but did not let it inflate her pride. She understood that mastery was a continuous journey, and each challenge was a step forward, not an end point. After class, several black belts approached Maya. Kenji, usually serious and reserved, spoke first. "Maya, today was impressive. You've taught all of us that skill is not just about strength or speed. It's about understanding, adapting, and staying calm under pressure. We underestimated you before, but not anymore." Ayumi added, "Your calmness, your focus, it's inspiring. Watching you, I realized that there is more to martial arts than technique. There is strategy, awareness, and respect. You've shown us that true strength comes from within." Maya smiled softly. "Thank you," she said. "But I am still learning. Each day brings new lessons, new challenges. I am not here to impress anyone. I practice to improve myself and help others grow." As the black belts nodded in understanding, Hiro approached with a bright smile. "Maya," he said, "I never imagined I could learn so much in such a short time. Watching you today, it's like everything makes sense. You make difficult things feel possible." Maya placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You're learning because you're paying attention and staying calm. The skill is already inside you. I'm just helping you see it. Over the next few weeks, Maya's presence in the dojo continued to influence everyone around her. Students became more focused, instructors found themselves reassessing their own methods, and the dojo atmosphere shifted. It was no longer just a place of practice, it had become a place where calm, careful thought, and personal growth were valued as much as physical skill. One afternoon, Mr. Tanaka called Maya aside. Maya, he said quietly, I have been observing your progress and the influence you have had on this dojo. You have shown not only skill but leadership, patience, and understanding. I would like you to consider becoming an assistant instructor, helping guide students and sharing your approach to martial arts. Maya felt a mixture of surprise and humility. She had not thought about instructing formally. She had only wanted to learn and improve. But she recognized the opportunity to help others grow. I would be honored, she said softly. Her first formal lesson as an assistant instructor was both exciting and challenging. She prepared a series of exercises designed to teach awareness, balance, and adaptability. Students were attentive, curious, and sometimes nervous, unsure of what to expect from someone who had quietly become the most skilled and respected presence in the dojo. As the lesson began, Maya demonstrated each movement slowly, emphasizing calm observation, controlled execution, and careful adaptation. She corrected mistakes gently, offered encouragement, and guided students through exercises that challenged both their minds and bodies. By the end of the lesson, students were not only more skilled but more aware of their own potential. One of the black belts, Takeshi, approached Maya after the class. I have trained for years, he admitted, and yet watching you teach today, I realized I still have so much to learn. You have a way of breaking down complex ideas into simple, understandable steps. You make everyone feel capable and confident. Maya smiled, appreciating the compliment but remaining humble. We all learn from each other, she said. Martial arts is not just about competition or strength. It's about understanding, growth, and helping others discover their own abilities. As days turned into weeks, Maya continued her dual role as a student and assistant instructor. She trained diligently, participated in sparring, and guided students with patience and care. Her reputation grew, but she remained grounded, never seeking recognition or praise. Her focus was always on improvement, learning, and supporting others. One day, during a routine sparring session, an unexpected challenge arose. A new student, much larger and stronger than Maya, stepped onto the mat. The dojo fell silent. Many expected her to struggle against someone so physically imposing. But Maya remained calm. She observed carefully, noting his tendencies, movements, and balance. The match began. The larger student moved aggressively, trying to overpower her. Maya shifted, dodged, and redirected his energy with ease. Each move she made was precise, calculated, and efficient. The larger student, surprised by her control and adaptability, began to falter. Maya did not strike harshly or recklessly, instead, she guided him through the movements, demonstrating skill without aggression. By the end of the session, the student bowed respectfully. I underestimated you, he admitted. Your skill, your calm, it's incredible. I have learned more from facing you than from weeks of training. Maya nodded, offering a quiet smile. Remember, strength is not about overpowering others. It's about understanding, awareness, and control. Use what you learn wisely. The dojo erupted in quiet admiration. Students whispered to each other, sharing stories of her skill, patience, and guidance. The black belts exchanged glances, realizing that Maya had not only proven herself physically but had transformed the dojo through her approach and mindset. As the day ended, Maya reflected on her journey. She remembered the early days when she was underestimated, the moments of doubt, and the challenges she had faced. She realized how far she had come not just in skill but in understanding, leadership, and character. She knew that the path ahead would have more challenges, but she felt prepared. Maya understood that true mastery was a lifelong journey. It was not about winning or being admired but about continuous growth, learning, and helping others along the way. She had discovered her own strength, influenced others positively, and found her place in a community that valued skill, respect, and personal growth. As the sun set, casting warm light across the dojo, Maya stood in the center of the mat. She took a deep breath, feeling calm, confident, and ready for whatever came next. Her journey was ongoing, and she welcomed it with open eyes, a focused mind, and a strong heart. Maya's story became an inspiration, not only to those in her dojo but to anyone who understood that true strength comes quietly, through dedication, awareness, and the courage to remain calm in the face of challenges. Her name would be remembered not just for her skill but for the way she transformed the people around her, proving that patience, understanding, and quiet confidence can create greatness that lasts far longer than any single victory.